show you what to do and what not to do when it comes to makeup. So this half of my face here is I will run you through the tips and tricks and what to do when it comes to makeup, and on this side I'm going to show you some big doozies and what not to do with your makeup. I used to do a lot of this stuff, so please don't be offended. Let's get you over to the do side and get you a nice finish. So on this half of my face is going to be the do, this half of my face is going to be the don't. So first do is primer. It's a pore and wrinkle minimizer, really good for your skin. So you want one that's not just going to clog your pores, and that's the Make Sense range. This half I have no primer. It's your foundation. So you want to find the foundation color that matches your face color to your chest area, so that when you're looking at a person, it both matches up and you're not getting either too bright as opposed to the body or too dark as opposed to the body. I am Fawn in the Make Sense range. I like to use a stipple brush. So on this side, I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to stipple, which just means patting the product in. Okay, so now that the do side is done with my correct foundation color with a stippling brush. So on the don't side, everybody does this, has done this before, I've done it before. Everybody likes to look tan. Wrong color. It could be the right color if I had a tan on, but don't use your tan color when you're not tanned. I'm going to use a brush to show you what not to do, and this can be quite streaky, so I'll show you what not to do. You don't want to drag your product, and I'll show you exactly what I mean as opposed to the stippling on my do side.
So dragging the product across your face.
So you can tell I need more product. It's not giving me very good coverage because I've been dragging it. Can you see that already when you drag the product? It looks streaky and it's too dark. I was applying too thickly to get the coverage instead of working my way up to the coverage that I want, building up and letting the layers kind of dry as I was applying them. So don't. So many products out there that you can contour with, and obviously everybody has their different ways of doing this. I prefer to use a foundation color that is just a touch darker. I feel like it blends better. My foundation color that I like to use is a dark color, but it blends out really nicely. So I start by using a brush that's on the angle that I want already, and I sweep downwards. I'm brushing upwards.
So if I blend it down, I'm going to lose that nice contour line. So I'm blending upwards towards my cheek so that I can still have that nice contour colour. Brush and just pat it in so that it blends nicely.
Now I'm going to show you what not to do. Use a bronzer, and bronzers can be really quite orange sometimes. I'm going to go in and do my contour on this side with a sponge. See how the sponge is soaking up all my product. Blending downwards is not going to help you with contouring. And see how it's dragging the foundation away? It's like you have the right idea, but look how streaky that is. It's terrible.
Don't judge. This is where people go wrong. They drag their product away.
It's a complete mess. Okay, so now we've finished the contour. You can see on my do side that I've created some soft shadows in my face. This is the way that we do want to contour. I haven't gone over the top with a terrible color. I've used a good brush that I have gradually worked in to create the shadow in the right directions, sweeping upwards. On the don't side, I used a sponge and I was dragging, which moves the product around. Streaky it is, there's parts missing, it's not a good look. So concealing. My do side, what I do is I use a shadow and it actually dries to a powder, so I don't need to do any baking, and I'm creating a nice triangle look underneath my eye. I'm going underneath my eyebrow and I'm gonna blend that in first because I don't want it to dry.
And then have to move it around later. You want to get it when it's nice.
The brush that is pointed fits nicely under there and blended nicely.
Going to conceal just above my lip.
Don't side, I'm going to do a concealer. This is a very, very well-known concealer thing that is too bright and that is going to crease. It doesn't dry properly.
Go ahead and conceal. So this is what a lot of people do. They go ahead and they paint their face like so in the highlight areas, and then they go in with a sponge.
How's it looking so far? So you can see that concealer is too bright. So concealed in all the right areas using the wrong tools can really make you look streaky and uneven. And can you see that discoloration just here? Most people will put a powder over the top of their foundations either to seal it in, or a lot of people do baking. So on my do side, this is what I do. I use the powder gently on the back of my hand first, and then I sweep out my foundation in. It's now waterproof. And even. So with powders, I've seen people bake their faces. If you haven't heard of baking, go look it up. Do this to try and set their concealer in. If you were using a good concealer, you wouldn't need to do this, but this concealer over here is one that would need this. So they put on a lot. And that's what you have to do with products that don't set themselves. Let's look at our brows. So on my do side, I'm going to show you what I do. Love, love, love Brow Sense by Senegence. Comes with this gorgeous fine point brush. What you want to do with your brows is you want to brush upwards. So So first I create a line of where I want to stay in. So that's the direction of my brow that I want to create a shape. So I'm just going to brush that upwards so I can just see the colour. And then I'm just going to feather. Brush it through for a natural look. On the don't side of my brow, I'm going to show you how a lot of people paint their brows on. It's not a good look. They go too dark, too quick, and it just looks completely painted on, and it's just not my cup of tea. Might work for some people, but for me, it's a big no-no. Could almost lift that eyebrow off. It's stamped on. So I see this a lot. Eyes, I'm just gonna brush off that excess of that horrible baking look on this side, and we're gonna go in and do eyes. What I do on my eyes is I usually have 3 different shades. Sometimes I'll use more. It'll really depend on what I'm doing and where I'm going that day. Use a matte color base, and then I do prefer to have a little shimmer in the corner of my eye. That just highlights the inside and brings your eye nice and wide and open. Blending is a must, and working up to the colour that you want is a must. So I start and I do my V. Eyes are completely another tutorial.
Just to show you my face, I put the product where I want it, and then I blend.
So a nice gradient between my matte base and then my dark colour. Shimmer is in the corner. So that's my do side, and now I'll show you my don't side. I'm going to show you a powder. I don't like powders. I like these creams. I feel that they blend easier and you don't get any fallout onto your cheeks. Just really much prefer the cream to powders that are smudge proof and waterproof. And they last all day, as opposed to a powder that you'll probably wipe your eye once and it'll be gone. Same sort of colours all over the eye. Going outside using a sponge is a don't. And it's a shimmer colour, so you can see that it's catching the light for the depth in my eye. It's going onto my cheeks. It's going everywhere. But this is one that I used to use and I used to love it. And then my inner corner, a gold. And it's taking forever. I've got no definition in this side of my eye because I've used the same sort of colour, but I am having to use a lot of product. It's falling onto my face because it's a powder, and because it's a shimmer, it's catching the light and it's not creating the shadow that I want like this side is. So let's talk eyeliners. So this is my eyeliner that I use. It is a fine point brush. It's an actual waterproof range, and it is also smudge proof. So I start with a minimum amount and then I work up to what I want. So pull my eye very, very slightly and I'll figure out where I'm going with this. I will start at the corner and I'll draw a flick.
And draw all the way over to that flick.
On my don't side, I don't recommend using a eyeliner that has a brush that is too thick, and I don't recommend doing it too thick too quick. Thicker than the other one that I just used, and it's got a really long end on it, so I don't have enough control over it. People they close their eyes, they draw, see how I don't have any control over where this brush is going, and this is where a lot of people make mistakes. Another don't with this eyeliner is that I see people drawing underneath with liquid. See how that's creased? It's tragic. So on my do side, what I do want to do is join up to my wing eyeliner, and I want to come along my water and lash line slightly just to define that wing and make sure that it transitions nicely into your shimmer shadow. What we don't want to do is go too heavy-handed all the way on the waterline, all the way in to the middle. Let's close my eye in so much, can you see? Let's talk lashes. So when choosing eyelashes, I always go for a lovely, natural, wispy lash look. I don't use a particular brand in lashes, I just look for that natural wispy lash. Can you see the bristles of the hair are nice and fine, there's a lot of them. I like a long lash and I like the band to be nice and fine. Okay, so on the don't side, I've got these big, thick lashes. See how they're catching the shine? They look really fake. They are too thick at the bottom and they look like somebody's just come in with the scissors and just cut. So this is one that I would not recommend. It has a big thick band, so it's more difficult to apply. I just prefer the natural look wispy ones. So let's go ahead and put these on.
I gave it no drying time, so don't do that.
See the difference between the lashes? Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about is your lipstick. So what you do want to do with your lips are wipe them nice and dry, and so that they're nice and prepped and ready for your lipstick. I use lip sense. I prefer not to get lipstick on my teeth and my coffee cup, and I like my lipstick to last all day, so I do use lip sense. We want our lips to be nice and dry and clean. So that here was First Love with matte gloss. Matte colours really make your lips pop. Shimmers tend to just shine around on your lips and you can lose them sometimes. So I'm going to show you how that can happen using the same colour, and I'm going to do it on this side. So now that we have our lips done, I'm going to show you our finishing touches. So our finishing touches would be our highlights and just a bit of colour on our cheeks before we leave the house. So on my good side, I'm going to show you, I love to use Toasted Rose. It's a blush, it's a cream blush. It just blends nicely, it stays on, it doesn't seem to move around a lot. Lightly with a nice blusher brush. So I just gently sweep outwards on my cheekbone. Don't want to drag the product. This side I'm going to show you a colour not to use, so your colour in your cheeks. I'll show you a circular motion, which is another thing not to do. So you've got your blusher brush, you've got your product on your blusher brush. And a lot of people just circle around on their cheeks like this, on their apples. It's something that I used too much cheek colour once upon a time. So that's a nice gradient between the contour and the cheek colour, blended outwards. And this is swirling around on the cheekbone with a colour that is too dark. I've got a horrible taste in my mouth from this lipstick. I'm not going to name the brand, but I just chose the colour that was similar to our matte look. And just to show you, Lip Sense, and then an unknown brand. That is shiny. You can tell my lips are just... Why would somebody wear something like this? What is the point of wearing lipstick? Just don't. So people like this probably need to reapply like 5 times a day. Who wants to do that? I don't. So lastly, we're doing our highlights. So I've chosen 2 highlight colours, completely different. I am using, on my do side, this is what I do every single day, I use a creamed powder highlight, and I use it just underneath my eye to finish off my complete eye look, just above my lips to finish off that beautiful lip colour that I've just put on. Use the Jessup Over Shader. So that's my highlight done on my do side. Now I'm going to show you a powder that a lot of people use, and it's a highlight powder. It's actually making my nose look wider because the powder spread, and it's